Okay, welcome back to the Zobin Whiteboard show. Today is episode number 8, and if you watched my most recent episode, which was number 7, Salad Days, which was a very strange episode. We're not going to talk about it now. And I kind of threw a teaser out there, and I said that the next episode I would talk about a phrase that's very similar to Salad Days, but it is a little different, and I wanted to kind of contrast the two. And that is that expression that's called Halcyon Days. Now, you might remember from last week when we talked about Salad Days. If you look at that idiom or that expression, what it means, there's kind of two schools of thought. You might remember that it actually is a term that originated in Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra from 1607, 1608, somewhere in that ballpark. What the original meaning meant, the passage in the play really referred to Cleopatra being kind of inexperienced, raw, and, maybe not quite 100% sure of her decisions, things like that. So when we think of salad, we think of something that's green, and green in the sense of kind of young and inexperienced. And it's not necessarily that she was remembering with fondness her salad days. It was more almost with maybe some melancholy or even disappointment in herself. So what Cleopatra meant by salad days is different than what the idiom or the expression would mean today. Traditionally, salad days would mean that you're kind of thinking back to your inexperienced youth, okay? And usually with fondness. I tend to think of it as like you're looking back at your high school years. And maybe some of the decisions you made were based more on emotion than I don't know, just using your heart more than your brain, this kind of thing. In general, in the more modern sense, salad days just becomes a more general term of when you think back on your life to a particularly memorable or special time. Not necessarily even from your youth, it could be from last week, that kind of a thing. Halcyon days is a little different, because even though most people would tend to use these things interchangeably, like you're kind of remembering back to a time period where you were happy and when you were kind of in your prime or your peak, Halcyon days by definition is actually a tranquil period of happiness, especially in the past. And I don't think salad days specifically refers to tranquility. So I think Halcyon days, you're almost thinking more, again, to a peaceful time in your life, not necessarily a memorable time or a time when you were at your peak, or maybe a prolific time period. Just like salad days is a term that harkens back to Shakespeare, Halcyon days has its roots in literature as well. It would actually come from Greek mythology, and it's a phrase that refers to the period around the winter solstice that is associated with calm weather. So this would be like in the third week of December. And in Greek mythology, it was attributed to the power of the fabled Halcyon bird that was said to calm the wind and the sea. So I think if you were to use Halcyon days correctly, you would think back to maybe a period of calm or tranquility or peace in your life. Whereas salad days might be more appropriate if you're just thinking back to a very memorable period, a very special time period, maybe a period where you were in your prime or peak of happiness. What I'm wearing, a couple of things that I kind of glossed over in my previous episode that I wanted to come back to. This is actually referred to as a bohemian tuxedo. And my dad told me that when he was a kid, what kind of the custom was kind of for farm boys or just for maybe poor kids. If you went to like a fancy dance, you would put on a dress shirt, a tie, and your bib overalls, and that was referred to as a bohemian tuxedo. And I'd largely kind of forgotten about my dad telling me about this. And then when I got prepared for the last episode, which kind of flew off the rails, I got into a bohemian tuxedo, and I have to admit I wore it the rest of the night, even long after I was done with the episode, because I really liked it. In fact, last Friday I went to a friend's art gallery show, and I didn't wear the bohemian tuxedo, but I was very tempted to do so because for some reason it just seems to fit my personality. So anyway, I wanted to close this episode with a rendition, kind of an alternate version of the song Spanish Eyes. And you might remember that song. There's the phone ringing. Blue Spanish eyes, teardrops are falling from your Spanish eyes. Please, please don't cry.
This is 784-5382.
This is just adios and not goodbye. Soon I'll return, bringing you all your love your heart can hold. Please say, si, si. Say you and your Spanish eyes will wait for me. So I'm hoping some of you remember that old standard called Spanish Eyes. And I kind of want to do a version that I'm calling Radish Eyes. And when I did this the other night, I just was not able to get these on. So what am I doing to keep my radish eyes on? Well, I put Velcro, I glued Velcro onto the back of a radish that I chopped off, because doesn't that just look like radish eyes? Say you and your radish eyes will wait for me. Please, please don't cry. Say si, si, and not goodbye. Oh, please. Say you and... Oh, maybe I am just not meant to have radish eyes. There. I guess we'll just go with that. Anyway, brief episode tonight. And we'll be back next time on the Zobin Whiteboard Show with the Colonel Clink. Radish eye. Mine radish eye. Mine radish